Good evening, everyone. This is Jeff with Astroscoop. Astroscoop, deep dive astrology coaching. Welcome. And here it is, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast. And I'm looking over here and it's basically pitch black. So this is, I think this is the first week or maybe second week that it's completely, well, the sky is almost there. Not completely pitch black, but basically dark. So welcome. I'm going to give it a little time. I see Carolyn's here. She says, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Indeed. And we'll see if anyone else pops in. I may, indeed. And we'll see if anyone else pops in. I may change my time or try to do a supplement live stream during the week to try to catch other viewers, because I have noticed that this slot, the Friday 7 p.m. slot, in the last few weeks has been kind of slow. So I'm wondering, maybe I might want to try it later like it used to be when I first started, or maybe try a different day. But we shall see. But of course, the live stream is always available for the replay afterwards at any time. And that's the beautiful thing. And that is a beautiful thing. So like I said, we're going to give it a few minutes. We're going to talk about Libra 2 tonight. So we're smack dab in the middle of the Libra period. And last week we talked about the first Libra period that began in late September. And of course, today's October 4th, 2024. So we're right in the middle of Libra. A little bit at the end, we're going to talk about the transits. But yeah, the sun is 12 degrees of Libra right now. And we just had the new moon. 2 days ago, we had the new moon, which is the sun and moon conjunct in Libra. And that was also right on the cusp of 9-10 degrees, which is the first decanate going into the second decan, which we'll talk about tonight. And the interesting thing about new moons is every time there's a new moon, it's like a reset for the moon phase cycle. So you could look at it as a clearing. So if you had a bad week that week, or a bad month even, between the new moons, it's a new cycle. So it's just like the oceans and the earth, everything's renewing all the time. Our bodies are renewing the processes in our, all the time. Our stomach lining is changing, blood's changing. So everything's always changing. And so if you have you had a bad week or you had a bad month, it does not mean, it could be astrologically, it could be an astrological influence, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be something that's stagnant with you. You can always reset. And with the new moon in Libra that we just had, you have to locate in your chart where Libra resides. So anytime you get your natal chart done or you have a horoscope, the wheel will illuminate where Libra is in your chart. And so it doesn't matter if you're not a sun in Libra, or even if you don't have any planets in Libra, but your Libra is on a house cusp somewhere, and it influences that arena of your life. So that's where the new moon took place for you and for everybody in one particular house. And the sun and moon in Libra, the new moon took place for you and for everybody in one particular house. And the sun and moon in Libra together obviously is a very strong bringer of harmony, but it can also be very fickle and indecisive and can be frustrating to the Libra person, but it can also be frustrating to others when there isn't any a lack of grounding or steadiness about the Libra energy taking a stand or making a decision on things. So the area where we have Libra in our chart could very well be an area where we want harmony. So, and if we want harmony too much in that area, we may sacrifice a little bit. We may sacrifice conflict and maybe not make enough decisions in that area because we want that, either that peace or that harmony. All right, someone else is here. Welcome. It's 7:05 Eastern Standard Time. And tonight we're talking about Libra 2. And I was just mentioning the new moon in Libra that we had 2 days ago. And that was a powerful new moon. And, Libra is, been talking about this. Libra is such a sign of contradictions because Libra's air and it's cardinal. It's a yang sign, which means outward expression or assertiveness, but it's also ruled by Venus, which is traditionally a feminine or yin influence. So you have the Venus and you have the air and the cardinal and the yang. So that's what makes Libra so interesting, and also hard to figure out in some ways. And I know we talked about that last week. So if you missed my Libra live stream from last week, please check it out, where I talk about the first decan of Libra, which is Venus ruled and also co-ruled by Venus. So all Venus. But this week, so today's the 4th. So from October 3rd to the 10th or 11th, we are now in the Libra 2 period. So I've been getting comments from Libra 2 period. So I've been getting comments from people, some of my older videos from more than 6 months ago, about some of the cusp period dates and a couple others about, one woman said that I stated, she said, you're wrong, something like I'm this sign or whatever. And I looked up and I messaged her and I told her that you have to have whatever system you're using, you have to do it with software or an ephemeris, and you have to look it up properly. You really need the time of birth and everything. You need all those details, the time zone, the appropriate town and state, just so everything lines up. And that will really help fine tune. But if someone made a comment that I have the dates wrong, it could also be someone that's referencing Vedic astrology or another branch of astrology, which is certainly possible, because not all branches follow the seasons. They don't follow the signs or the energies in a seasonal fashion. So that would make sense to some people that maybe some of these dates are 1 or 2 days off. But what's really important is just look at the degrees when you do a chart or horoscope, and then that gives you the clues to what's going on with that energy. So Libra 2 is approximately 10 to 18 degrees, 10 degrees to 18 degrees of Libra planets. So anyone that has a birthday this week, the 3rd, or if you know anyone that's born this week up to the 10th or 11th, or if you have a Libra planet in your chart that is between 10 and 18, you were also just conjuncted those planets by the new moon, especially if you have a Libra planet, which would be a 9, a 10, 11, or 12. So those degrees were very much touched by the new moon in Libra that we just had. But this week, people that are born between 10 and 18 degrees of Libra is the Libra 2 decan, which is Venus ruled, obviously, but now we have Uranus influencing the Libra 2 decan, which is very interesting. And there's also a nod here to that the co-ruler or sub-ruler of this decan can be Saturn as well. And traditionally, Saturn is exalted or very well, strongly placed in the sign of Libra. So that Saturn, the concept of Saturn and Libra go well together. So if for astrologers that believe in that or subscribe to that, then they probably would consider a Saturn influence to this decanate, or Saturn and Uranus, which are also similar, especially when you're dealing with Capricorn, Capricorn and Aquarius period. So, but yeah, 10 to 18 degrees. So smack dab right in the middle. It's true Libra energy, but it's not the raw early Libra energy like we talked about last week. So someone born this week, if their sun sign, their sun Libra sun was 10 or 11 degrees, right around 20 years old, at some point in college, their chart would have progressed, and they would have been able to tap into the next sign of Scorpio's energies. So that sun sign would have progressed, and that person would have potentially taken on some Scorpio, or in touch with some Scorpio traits. So that's another way to look at it as well. And the Libra 2 period, now that's full on Libra, like I've been talking about the last couple of weeks, would be like someone in their midlife, but now someone that would be more likely well into your 40s, like a late 40s kind of adult. And this particular decan has to do with society. It's a societal kind of energy, and it's society in terms of being social. But, like I mentioned on the Virgo Libra cusp and last week, Libra is a sign of contradictions in a lot of ways. Now, all the signs have different sides and kind of different levels, right? Based on their symbols and mythology and our maturity as a person, as people. So depending on, are we operating on those lower vibrations of the sign or higher? We can't always be ideal and perfectly healthy and pure and clean and super nice to everybody. We can't be like that all the time, because we have emotions, and we get tired and frustrated and everything. But for people that are aware, the more you're aware of your chart and aware of your sign, you can really try to make an effort to try to bring out the best in yourself, but bring out the best in those signs that are in your chart, because it, especially astrologers that know our charts. And astrologers, even the best astrologers in the world, I'll bet, are not great at reading their own chart or reading their own energy, because there's a bias. Doesn't matter how talented or intelligent or how smart an astrologer is, if there's a bias there. So it's always good to have someone else help you, another set of eyes to see what's going on. So this Libra 2 decanate, the Uranus influence or Aquarius influence, and then of course when we get to Aquarius, there's a Venus decan, which is the Libra decan. So those are Aquarians with a touch of Libra. But this decan is interesting because you still have Librans that want social harmony or cosmic harmony. They want things to be balanced. They want things to be right. And they kind of like Virgo, Libra doesn't usually like chaos either. The seasons going from Virgo to Libra is not like chaos. It's more like Libra doesn't like, Virgo doesn't like messiness, like emotional messes or things like that with people. With Libra, it's just more of a social balance and communication and partnership and relationship, much more than Virgo. So there are some stars here for this decan. One is called Algorab, and it's a 13-degree star. So it could be someone that's born on like the 4th, 5th, or 6th of this week, any year, doesn't matter. But if they're born this week based on the zodiac system, they would be, that Libra planet would be conjunct Algorab. And this potentially, I read, that could be a destructive star. Now, of course, some of these translations, like that, come from Ptolemy and come from these other astrologers or astronomers. They keep getting translated. So now you have Gen Z and millennial, people translating people from my generation, or from baby boomers, and from the silent generation, right? So it just everyone keeps just recycling it and translating it or paraphrasing it. So some of the things that say destructive, decapitation of head or something like that. You know, it's because somewhere in history or in mythology there was an occurrence of where that happened, or that theme, something around that theme happened. So that's how the person, you know, like Ptolemy or someone like that, prescribed those words or that imagery to the star. So it doesn't mean literal destruction, but of course, all the signs have, you know, negative traits, and we can all misfire, and we all have a dark side. So depending on how we're feeling at any given moment and how people treat us, we can, you know, we could lash out or be defensive in different ways. And of course, we know the signs. There's a lot of motivation to why signs behave the way they do. But this Algorab is a destructive star potentially because the person can use their charm and their wit for cons. So now, of course, a lot of that has to do with the maturity and involvement of someone. But you know, if a Libra planet, if a Libra planet is, if a Libra planet